When I was born, my dad was a race car driver for a hobby. And it's what he did. When I grew up, my dad was racing locally. That's because of what my dad did. So then there was 3 boys, no girls. Rusty, Mike, Kenny. Rusty's the oldest. He's 7 years older than me. Mike is 4 years older than me. And I'll be 62 August 23rd. So we grew up as a racing family around this area and grew up in Rolla, Missouri, about 80 miles west of here, southwest. And Dad was always doing good. That's what I remember. Dad was always doing good, winning, running competitively. Dad's won like 400 races. And Rusty came along, big brother Rusty Wallace. I say his full name so some people that don't know me very well, I see people on here all the time. They go, Kenny Wallace, I started following you. And they usually like my life stories. By the way, I do try to mix the stories up. Do you like it? Respond right here. My daughters say, Dad, when I see you promoting a race coffee with Kenny, we don't even watch. I said, thanks, kids. So I've been doing some life stories lately. You know, my health update from Mayo, the dementia deal, dads in their 50s. I hope you enjoy them. I'm doing that on purpose, trying to mix it up a little bit. It's not all racing all the time. It's not all racing all the time. So anyway, I set the stage for you. My dad was a local race car driver and won a lot of races. Then Rusty was born. Rusty's the alpha male. And Rusty was always a gadgeteer. He was always a fixer. Rusty come along and he started doing everything himself. Dad got older. All of us boys started helping Dad. And fast forward, Rusty started traveling. We had some local sponsors here in town. Don Kern Racing Engines, built the motors. John Childs Tire out in O'Fallon. Him and his brothers owned some tire stores, and they liked racing. So when I was a kid, I started helping Rusty. Of course, I helped Dad, too. I changed the gears. I, pulled the brake drums off and wire brushed the, brakes and blew them out with a hose. And Dad ran dirt on Friday at Tri-City and then on asphalt on Sunday. So we took the same car. So it was a family tradition. What you did is, when you got done running that dirt race on Friday night, Saturday, you swapped the car over. Used the dirt car on an asphalt track. So I started to learn how to fabricate. Well, when Rusty went racing, Rusty recognized, I'm Kenny, little Kenny me, I'm full of piss and vinegar. I'm a worker. And like Rusty says to this day, he says, Herman, you're a wiry little son of a bitch. It's true. Nick Hoffman calls me Skinny Kenny. I can't help it. It's just, I was born hyperactive and I go hard. I feel guilty if I don't. I think my dad taught me that. I feel guilty if I sit around too much. Maybe it's a curse. Maybe I should learn to relax. We're going to Cabo tomorrow. I'll relax there. So Rusty recognized that I was a go-getter. Mike wanted to stay here at home and race. So Mike stayed here and Rusty started traveling. Fridays, Rusty would wait for me to get off work and we'd go to Springfield, Missouri, and we would race Mark Martin, Larry Phillips. There you go. It's like, we were born in the Midwest. What kind of racers are from the Midwest? Mark Martin, Carl Edwards, Jamie McMurray, Kenny Schrader. Not everybody from California and New York. So we had some hot rods around here. Now, Carl Edwards, Jamie McMurray, they all copy Rusty. I think Schrader realized that the place to make money was full-bodied cars. Schrader came NASCAR because there wasn't that much money. I mean, the Indy 500 was really the only deal. I mean, you look at the deal with Jeff Gordon. You ask Jeff Gordon, you ask Kenny Schrader, why'd you go NASCAR? That's where the show was, and that's where the money was. There's not a big salary in Indy cars. You make way more money being a race car driver in NASCAR. It's just the way it is. There's more races too. IndyCar, they only got like 12, 16 races a year. There's more of an opportunity in NASCAR because you run 39 races. So I painted the picture for you. And I worked hard for Rusty. So I started traveling. Well, when I started traveling, and this is what I told Owen Steinking last night. When I started traveling with Rusty, I met Phil Homer at Goodyear Racing Tires. I met George Gillespie with Pro Shocks. I met the MSD ignition box guy. I met John Childs, who bought Rusty's race cars or helped Rusty financially. I knew Don Kern for the motors. So when Rusty moved south in 1984, when he made it, I went with him with my girlfriend, Kim. Kim was my girlfriend. So we followed Rusty and Patty down south in 1984, and Rusty drove the Gatorade car, the number 88 Gatorade car for Cliff Stewart, right up there in Winston-Salem. We went down Interstate 40 together. I made a right. I went south on 85. I went down to Charlotte, and I got a job. Joe Ruttman, I saw Joe Ruttman in Jefferson, Georgia. And he said, would you come to work on our NASCAR Cup team? Man, I thought about it. At the time, I'm repairing vacuum cleaners. Now, remember that. My real jobs, I repaired vacuum cleaners, and I cleaned sewers out in the city streets. And I repaired telephone cables underground in the city. So those were my two jobs. I was a vacuum cleaner repairman, and I worked for Arnold Reuter. And it wasn't all poop and pee and cleaning sewers out. It was, my job was to maintain the sewer lids. You lift them up, and the telephone wires were spliced underneath there. I maintained all those underground telephone wire splicing stations. So in other words, your telephone wires underground in the city of St. Louis, they're just not one continuous. They cut in half at times. So the telephone people, they'd lift the lid up, and I'd have it all ready for them. That was my job. My friends would see me in the city of St. Louis. So Joe Ruttman saw me in Jefferson, Georgia, and I came back home, and I told my girlfriend, my friend said, if you don't take that job, I'll regret it. So I moved south. At the same damn time, Rusty got that ride, that Gatorade ride. So me and Kim, in my old 1976 GMC pickup truck, where I would pull in the gas station and I would say, check the gas and fill it up with oil. It made it to Charlotte. We packed up like the Beverly Hillbillies. I spent a year down there, and I met everybody. I met everybody in NASCAR. Now follow along here. This is very important. I met all the people that make parts through Rusty because I was Rusty's kid brother, and I was paying attention, and I'm a talker. So I'm talking to all the sponsors the whole time. And then I go to NASCAR, and the crew chief quits, Jake Elder. Jake Elder quits in 1984. Guess who becomes the crew chief at 19, 20 years old? Me. I think me and Doug Rickert were the youngest crew chiefs in NASCAR Cup history. 19, 20 years old, I was a Cup crew chief for Joe Ruttman in the 1984 year. Levi Garrett was the sponsor. Okay, let's fast forward. That team shuts down, and my dad misses me, and Dad goes, I'll pay you $20,000 a year to move back to St. Louis. I was kind of missing home. We moved back home. We moved back home, and it was listen, that song is true. Life's a journey. Life is a journey. So I moved back home, and man, they started that Daytona 500 without me. I'll never forget it. I was crushed. I used to be down there, and I found myself here and devastated that I decided to come home. But it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened. I called John Childs up. I said, John, I want to be a race car driver. Now, this is after becoming a Cup crew chief. After. This is 85. I go back to work on vacuum cleaners. I'm at the Daytona 500, and I moved back to St. Louis, and I'm repairing vacuum cleaners. Now I'll fast forward. I went straight to ASA. You talk about crazy. I was not even a race car driver. Oh, I guess I won that 1982 Illinois Street Stock State Championship on the 1 mile dirt. That was in 82. But 83, 84, I never drove a thing. So my very first race on asphalt was ASA against Dick Trickle, Mike Eddy, Bob Seneca. So when I went to ASA, I'd never even drove a race car. My second race of my life, I finished fourth at Cayuga, Canada, to Bob Seneca. I forgot who won that day. And the rest is history. But here's the shortcut that you're wanting to know. You're wanting to know how I made it financially. Kim worked at Pope's Cafeteria. She bought my Dillon trailer with her cafeteria money. She spent $2,500. That's one reason we married. That was a joke. That was a joke. When your girlfriend / wife buys your, well, we got married June 23rd, 1984. So this is 86. 86, Kim knows, she knows she's in for the long haul. She knows I'm going to be a race car driver. So that's a bonus right there, boys. She don't bitch about racing. She knows this is what we're going to do. I struck gold. So when it came time for me to race, I got 3 free tires from Phil Homer. I got free shocks. I got free MSD boxes. Don Kern gave me my motors, but I had to pay him a third. So if I won $1,000, I had to give Don $300. So on and so forth. And that is how I became a race car driver. Well, then, it's like, how did you make it to NASCAR, Kenny? Answer the question. Well, I put in my reps. I ran 1986, 87, 88 in ASA. I got a phone call, November of 88, Big Brother Rusty. Herman? Now this time, Rusty and Patty are settled. Rusty says, you want to run the Busch Grand National Series? Are you kidding me? Rusty got the Cox Treated Lumber sponsorship. He said, you got to bring your truck and trailer down and all your equipment. This is the second trip back to North Carolina. And the rest is history. Rusty said, I'm going to treat you like a bird. I'm going to teach you how to fly, and then I'm going to let you go. I would have never made it without Rusty and Patty. I would have never made it without Rusty and Patty. I love my big brothers so much. I love Patty. I would have never been there without them.